This is the amazing wooden ART assault gun that can shoot out actual little wooden bullets. Thanks, Woodtrick. And I'm saying amazing because it looks incredible and it's got a few quite brilliant functions. But when I talk about the actual firing function, well, it's a little bit meh. But I'm going to show you that in just a minute. And if you hadn't figured it out already, this is an assembly model. So the kit came with instructions, with a little wee tool, and this end is very important because you're going to use it a lot to help you push out most of the pieces. I would say about 95%. Otherwise, if you keep using your fingers, you will end up with very sore fingers. Trust me on that. And it also came with this. Yep, that is a lot of toothpicks. Of course, there was way more in there, but I'm not gonna lie, this is my first kit that I have assembled that had toothpicks. And all I can say is it is not that easy to use toothpicks. There's a lot of breakage and you can stab your fingers in no time. So yeah, I'm gonna keep that to the side just for now. It did also come with a bit of sandpaper and wax, so that was very handy. And the instructions, they are actually pretty good. So it's a level 4 difficulty, but again, because of toothpicks, I would probably put it in level 5. And this is the instructions. This is how they look like. And to be honest, I always like this about Woodtrick instructions. So when you look at the boards, as an example, this one right here, so it tells you obviously what pieces are needed. So here you can see number 144, 145. Here it tells you what wooden sheet you have to use. So it's number 7. And they also colour in the pieces that need to be pushed out, which is super handy. So there's no way you're gonna push out incorrect pieces. So I absolutely love that about these instructions. And we have got 94 pages here, and it takes quite a while to assemble. So it says between 5 to 6 hours, but it actually took me close to 7 hours. Again, mostly because of toothpicks. Lots of breakage, lots of tight spaces, lots of sanding of actual toothpicks. Yeah. But it's okay, I persevered that, and it was actually quite a lot of fun to assemble. So when I actually started to assemble it, I was a bit like, oh god, this is actually quite difficult because of tight spaces and toothpicks just breaking all the time. But once you get in that rhythm of it, it was perfectly fine. And once I got near to the end, it was just easy as hell, to be honest, because you kind of get used to using them. You've got the right tools and it's just kind of a breeze at the end, which was great. And I will tell you that you will need more sandpaper than that. That is definitely not enough. And these are the wooden sheets that all the pieces came in. So we have got 8 wooden sheets altogether, and there were actually spare parts right here on the last board as well. So there's actually quite a few, which is very handy. As you can see, I actually didn't need any because, as you can see, the boards are actually quite thick. So they're thick pieces. It is not easy to break any of them, which is very handy. And these tools are just an example of what you will definitely need for this kit. So when you, as an example, pop in a toothpick, I've got 2 holes right here, and it breaks off too quickly, like too early, because trust me, that will happen. You can either use a little nail or another toothpick to try and push it out, but this little screwdriver was perfect for me. Look at that. Fits in absolutely brilliantly. And it does tell you to use a Stanley knife to chop them off, but I tried that and I didn't like that. What I did instead was I literally just broke them with my, well, I was going to say fingers. Yes, I did break some of them with fingers, but I actually used the side of the actual little wee tool. I did have another tool that I used, which is right here. As you can see, you can tell the difference, which one I used more often. So I just used the side to kind of break it off, and then I just sanded it. I found that way easier. And if I needed to chop any of the toothpicks, I just used my little wee pliers right here, and they worked perfectly, amazingly fine. And if I needed to pull out any toothpicks, I would literally just grab it and pull it out. It was super easy. So you will definitely need those little things. And just one last thing about the kit before I go through the functions of this little beauty here. So we did actually have a 9th wooden sheet, but I don't really count that because this is just your little bullets, and you can create 44 altogether, which is quite a lot, and you don't need them all, to be honest, but it's handy because you can fit up to 12 little guys in this magazine, which is pretty cool. And now we can move on to the actual gun. As you can see, it looks absolutely awesome. It's a really good size, and look at this barrel. That looks really neat. Everywhere around it just looks quite amazing. I'm quite impressed about that. It's got a really nice weight to it. It feels good. It feels really nice to grip it. That handle is really quite comfortable, which is very nice. We do have this little holder that can hold a little laser or a flashlight. So if you got a small laser, you would just probably leave it as is. Or if you got a flashlight, you would just pull it down a little bit like this, and you can pop it in, and it just holds it in place, which is really quite nice. And we do have a scope here at the top as well. Of course, there's nothing in it, to be honest, so it's not going to work like a proper scope. But as you can see, it does look pretty cool with those wooden pieces in there. And you can turn these little guys that are on the side and just pretend that you're zooming in and out, which is quite nice. And then we've got another kind of scope, I think, this on the side. But obviously you can't see through it, but it still just looks really quite cool. And then when we come to the shoulder rest, I was going to say arm rest, shoulder rest, we can actually pull it out, which is really cool. So we push this guy right here down, as you can see, push it down and pull it. Look at that. And it just locks into place because this just goes up. And that just extends it and makes it way longer, and it's just an amazing feature, really, to be honest. And if you want to put it back in, push it down and push it straight back in, and it just, well, I was going to say stays into place. It should. No, it's not going in further than that. It's just not locking in the last place there, but it's okay. Yeah, so it doesn't seem to lock in the last place, so you can leave a gap if you want, but you don't have to because it's not that easy to pull it out, which is perfectly fine. And it does also have a safety switch, which is right here. So as you can see, I can't pull the trigger. Like, it moves a little bit, but you can't pull it. And then when we set it onto fire mode, it does work, as you can see though. So it's gonna feel like it's a little bit flimsy because the rubber band doesn't really pull it back for some reason. But it's okay, because once the gun is loaded, it stiffens up, which is good. So when it's not loaded, it's very quite flimsy. And we do also have a removable magazine, which is right here. We've got a wee button right here that we push in, and we just pull it out like that. And the magazine's actually pretty cool. Look at that. Oh, trying to pull it down. There you go. See that? That's actually pretty cool how it works on a rubber band. So yeah, very cool feature, to be honest. So once the magazine is actually popped in like this, so you're going to see this button move. See that? And when it goes back again, that means it's locked into place. There you go. And it's not coming out. But what I really like about this is this little wee chamber. Look at that. We open this little door, and when we load it, you can actually see it kind of loading the next bullet, which I'm going to show you in just a second. And that is pretty cool, to be honest. And then when we go on to actually loading it, all we have to do is pull this top part back. Right here. Like that. And yep, that should be it. It should be loaded now. Yep, it's quite stiff. There you go. So that was it. Yep, it is working perfectly fine. And just to let you know, I mentioned it at the start already, how the actual fire is a little bit meh. So I did actually make a little bit of a changes inside. So the rubber bands that were provided, I don't know why, but it did not shoot at all. I'm not joking. The bullet went like maybe this far. Of course, I waxed everything on the inside, and I actually sanded and waxed all the bullets because they didn't want to go through at all, and it still just didn't go through. So I changed the rubber bands and made it tougher because I needed more power, and it did start shooting out, and I'm gonna show you that in just a second. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load up the magazine with just a few of the bullets, so it does show you which way you have to load them, which is really cool. So just pop them in. It feels actually quite nice loading it up, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna pop in 5. I'm not gonna fill it right up, because if it's filled right to the top, the rubber band kinda, of course, gives so much pressure to the top bullet and it hardly fires, basically. Just a wee tip. So pop that in, there we go, and just pay attention to this, right in there. It's going to show you how it's loading the bullet. I'm not sure if you could see it, but yeah, you could see a little bit, so it's really quite cool actually. I'm going to pop out the first one. It was just a wall there, don't worry. And it's going to show you another next one loading in. See that? That is actually a pretty cool feature. There we go, so just shooting at the wall, just making sure that you can see how cool that little hole is. Very cool. And if you don't want this flappy thing to keep opening up, you can remove these top bits, close it, and then put the bits on the top, and it will just lock it into place, and it'll be nice and smooth like this side basically, which is pretty cool. And I just realised that I never mentioned that you can actually change the position of your scope and your laser / torch holder. So you'd have to move these little guys down and pull it out like this, and just move it wherever you want. I would probably prefer it right at the bottom, right here, because when you're holding it, I assume you hold your hand here and not on the actual magazine. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some gun experts here watching this and probably wondering, oh, I wonder what's he going to say about this. So if you could tell me how you're supposed to hold it, that would be great, because I'm not a gun expert, but this feels way more comfortable than this, of course. And now it's time to go and shoot out a few bullets and show you how far it can not go, should I say, maybe? Jokes. The one thing I will say though is, I could go and I'm pretty sure I could customize it a little bit more. I don't think it would be expensive at all to make it way more powerful. I think you could possibly maybe, just maybe, use springs, somehow install them to make it way more powerful so they could fly at least, I don't know, what, 20? Not 20 meters, that's quite far, isn't it, for a wooden gun? 10 meters at least? No, 20 meters would do me just fine, to be honest, so you'd feel way more satisfied out of this kit, you see. So let's go and test it out. So yeah, that's how far it goes, but to be honest, I'm not joking. I have seen so many reviews on like Google or Amazon of people saying that it doesn't work at all, like nothing comes out of it. Like the fire bit actually works, but nothing comes out, nothing shoots out. So I'm chuffed that my one at least shoots out, do you know what I mean? So it's working, but yes, I could improve it myself, I'm pretty sure. And don't forget that this was released years ago, and I'm pretty sure Woodtrick have had lots of feedback that they have, I'm pretty sure, learned from. But nevertheless, it's an absolutely awesome model. It's so big, it looks absolutely amazing. There's so many good functions on it. I absolutely love them. And the toothpick situation, yes, you might feel a little bit annoyed to start with, but you're going to get used to it, especially if you have the right tools, and you're just going to rumble through it. You're going to enjoy it, trust me. And I hope, if you do get this, that your one works. If it doesn't, you can swap out the rubber bands, get maybe better ones, you know, and it will work perfectly fine, or there will be other ways to customize it to make it better. And yeah, don't forget, if you do fancy one of these, I've got an Amazon link down below in the comments section and the description, so make sure you go and check it out, and make sure you leave a like down below for this video and subscribe for more videos like this one. And don't forget to let me know, how are you supposed to hold this? Is it like this or like this? Because I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure there's experts out there who will answer it like that. And thank you so much for watching. I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.